Boys, we're recording this on Sunday, and we are going to drop this Tuesday, February 4th. But what the fuck happened last night? I'm drinking a cocktail, about to jump in the bed, and Luka fucking Doncic to the Lakers? What the fuck's going on?
Yeah, man. I personally myself was, just getting ready for bed. It wasn't a super eventful Saturday night for me. And all of a sudden, I just see on my phone, everyone starts blowing up the phone, of course, and on Twitter and everything. Luka Doncic. I thought it was a joke. Even Shams tweeted it, and I was like, someone hacked him. That's what everyone else thought too. But here we are. Sunday, February 2nd, and it's real.
Yeah, that was pretty much the same for actually me. Like I was about to, I actually may have been like in like bed, and then I saw that come like across, and I was like, this just seems fake. And I honestly just actually tossed my phone back over and just didn't even look at it.
Well, I think he came out a few times and then said, no, this is real, because all of the comments below, like Shams' first tweet was like, what is going on? Like, this has to be fake. I thought someone like hacked his Twitter or something, because no one else was saying anything about it.
Yeah, it was just him. So actually, yeah, like when I saw that, I was like, damn, for our first show, we just have to talk about this, because this was not the plan. But yeah, this is Sunday around actually noon. So this is a pretty real and raw take as far as everything for us here. So yeah, I mean, actually, yeah, man, do you have any like initial thoughts?
Well, first we should go over, if for some reason you haven't seen it, and I don't know if you don't have social media, that's the only way you haven't seen it. But if you haven't seen it, the official trade is the Dallas Mavericks trade Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris to the Lakers for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick. If that is your first time hearing it, I'm sure your reactions are much like everyone else. But
you probably just shit your pants, just like you did last night.
You're probably like, who? For who? Like, I mean, I was expecting something else to come out. Sometimes you see the initial kind of trade before all the names are finalized and everything like that. I figured, okay, like surely we're missing a part of it before it's completely official. No, that was the whole thing.
Yeah. Bro, well, I'm scouring X afterwards, like what is going on, and I don't know about you guys, but when something goes on in the world, like Twitter is at like the best it's ever been. So like I'm scrolling through like all these tweets, and I have a tweet pulled up here. It's like, imagine the phone call. The Mavs calling the Lakers and saying, we want AD, and the Lakers are saying, yeah, that's not available. Or the Mavs say, well, we can throw in Luka, and Lakers say, yeah, AD will be there in the morning.
Yeah.
like
exactly.
I still don't get it. Like, I've looked at this from multiple angles. Like, maybe this will be good for the Mavs, but immediately afterwards, the owner's now coming out talking about all the weight that Luka's put on and how he can't play like, was there a rift that we didn't see between the owner and Luka ever since he grabbed that beer after the Western Conference Finals last year? Like, what has been going on?
Yeah, there has to be, because like from everything that I've seen, that was what I was trying to figure out, is like, as far as on the Mavs side of things, like, how is this so good for them? And everything I've seen is they're really happy. Like they like are really happy with this trade. So I'm thinking there definitely has to be a lot of stuff that, like we just don't know about.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, you brought up a good point, Spencer, because it seems like, they were almost ready to get rid of him. It's almost like you were talking about the general manager there, Nico Harrison. He was talking about how he thinks defense wins championships. And that was kind of his retort to, I guess, why he doesn't want Luka. He said, I believe getting an all-star defensive center and an all-NBA player with a defensive mindset gives us a better chance. You're giving up, I mean, sure, I get it. Luka's defense has been, not great. It wasn't last year either, though. And he led the league with 33.9 points per game.
They just went to the damn finals.
Yeah. Like, okay, sure. Defense, sure. That's not the current NBA model. Like, you look at the top teams, and sure, a few of them have great defenses. The Cavaliers, the Rockets, the Celtics defense seem pretty good too. But you're talking about other teams that have made playoff runs, including last year, the Mavericks, who literally made the NBA Finals with Luka Doncic, averaging just under 30 points per game in the postseason. He was averaging 34 points per game in the regular season. He was averaging nearly the same amount in the postseason, even into the finals where he was averaging 28 points per game. I don't get it.
I mean,
no way you look at it, it makes sense.
It's just astonishing, man. I mean, if you're a GM or the owner here sitting in Dallas right now, and you're thinking Luka Doncic is the problem or their defense is the problem, wait till fucking arthritis sets in. You just got AD who falls over and immediately breaks an ankle and goes down. I mean, if you thought Luka was injury prone, what are you doing with AD and Kyrie? Kyrie misses games to go on like Judaism calls because he's doing something, or like Buddhism calls. Like the dude during COVID didn't play because he would just say he had like some meeting that he had to get on, like a Zoom call or something. I remember like 2 years ago him like missing a game for that. Like I don't get it. And now you have LeBron paired with Luka. I mean, in full transparency, I think they got to be moving LeBron here now. Like, what he has 1 or 2 years left on his contract, maybe, and you're probably not going to give him a max extension again. I mean, if you're going to be building this team around Luka now, you got to be moving him, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, and I saw, there's some speculation he might go to the Warriors because he had apparently a great connection with Kerr and Curry, both the coach and their star player. That would be interesting to see if they go all in, because all of a sudden you're talking about now, the Warriors could be contenders. I mean, they've already been contenders the last few years. Sure, they lose Klay Thompson to the Mavericks, but there are a few years left, I believe. Like, sure, Curry's starting to maybe see a little bit of the age catch up to him, but I believe if you go all in this year, if you're the Warriors, you have a chance here with them still seemingly not in their prime, but still playing at one of the highest levels in the NBA. Like, well, if you were to go there, that would be another insane move here. But I think it's at least worth it to the Lakers to see what the team looks like with LeBron and Luka, because you don't want to just trade him off before you even see Luka play, because of course he's injured right now. It would be kind of, you'd be remiss if all of a sudden you let them go and it turns out they work really well together too. So,
well, I guess when is he coming back from his injury anyway? Like, the trade deadline will, most likely, because it ends Thursday, doesn't it?
I must say yes.
I mean, you're going to have to sit on him the rest of the year and then maybe trade LeBron in the offseason, and then does Bronny go with him? But, I mean, talking about this, Luka just, he's got to be pretty pissed off in his own right. He just left $345 million from the Mavs on a super max extension that he can now get, because he can't get anymore because now the Mavs traded him, and you have to get that with the team that drafted you. But like, if you're on that side as well, I think they said he's going to take a third of what he was going to get with the Mavericks. I'm just like I'd be fucking pissed.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, what a time. It's just, you got to think about worst trades of all time, and I would say Deshaun Watson. That trade is the first one that comes to my mind, because you talk about a franchise just completely imploding, and the Browns absolutely did that with their ridiculous sign, and that was more of a money aspect from how much they locked up into him, but it still goes down as one of the worst moves for a franchise, and I believe this has to be right up there. And you also got to think Mark Cuban has to be rolling over in his figurative grave, because he's not the owner anymore. And you got to think he's just watching from behind the scenes. He's a minority owner now. He's not running things from the front office in that sense. And you got to think he's just like, what the hell are these guys doing? Because, I don't think it's a coincidence that not too long after, all of a sudden he steps down, that Luka still has time left in his contract and they just deal him off. You got to think this is something that, these owners, and apparently, I don't get it, but apparently Nico Harrison wanted to do for a while. If he believes that defense wins championships and you get rid of your all-star player who sells probably more jerseys than the rest of everyone on the team combined, and brings people in the door. Like, sure, defense might win championships, but it doesn't get people in the seats. I can tell you that much. Luka gets people in the seats. So.
Oh my God, if I was a fan of Dallas, I'd be so pissed off. Yeah. Like, what is their GM and owner the only ones that wanted him gone? Like, I would love to sit in that locker room and see what's going on.
Yeah,
or like Kyrie Irving, what are you thinking?
Yeah,
like, maybe you're happy. I don't know what your relationship was like. I know he's friends with AD in a way, but like, what?
Yeah. I think as a Vikings fan, the best thing I can think of is if we were to trade Justin Jefferson to someone for like 2 safeties and a linebacker because defense wins championships. Like, that's just what it feels like to me.
Von Miller.
Yeah, trading for Von Miller, Justin Jefferson. I mean, it just makes no sense. Sure, defense wins championships, but not to give up people that quite literally build your fan base and are the face of the franchise offensively.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm still thinking about is like over these next few days here, as far as what other moving pieces we're actually going to see here. Because from the Mavs side, I don't really see a lot happening there. But like to that point, like everybody's saying, like this is such a bad trade. Well, those guys have some type of plan here. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm definitely ready to actually find out though. But as far as the Lakers go, I think we're still going to see some moves there. I mean, actually, like as far as like a center, I mean, like they have to pick up somebody, right?
Yeah, I would have thought like if you're going to include in that trade, like how do you not include Gafford or the dude from Duke, Live or whatever, is it Lively?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like why is he not involved in the trade if you're the Lakers?
That's another part I didn't get personally because you have who they've been injured and stuff, but yeah, you have Lively, Gafford who's been injured, and now Anthony Davis. But I actually thought at center, especially with a young guy like that, like you're trading him for an injury-prone 32-year-old who, on his best days, he is a great defender, but is he really that much of a game changer when now it's like, where does your offense come from? Klay Thompson has been one of the best 3-point shooters, so I can give them that. You have Kyrie running the point. But aside from those two, it's like AD's not going to be that premier like offensive scorer for you. It just doesn't really make sense to me from, logistics perspective of it for how the team's going to look with him now, especially with what you just gave up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out also, like looking at the trade, did the Mavs not ask for much in return? Or like, was this the first offer that went down? The Lakers were like, oh, fuck yeah, let me take it. Like, take it right now. Or like, as the GM and owner, like, you have to almost be stupid to do that trade. Like, ask for more. Why are you not asking for either like Dalton Knecht or Austin Reeves or someone else that can produce? But now the Lakers moved to like the coldest white team that's ever existed. Like, what do you put like Dirk Nowitzki on there and you're the best of all time? But you, like Ben, you were saying like one of the historic trades to go down. I mean, I'll throw it. It's probably been the craziest trade since like Biden gave up the Russian arms dealer for Brittany Griner. I mean, that was one of the other ones where you're looking at and you're like, what the fuck is going on here? Like Brittany Griner. I was almost caught off guard. And then I was looking at some other tweets and it was like, Dallas has been in shambles just as bad. Like, is this as bad as JFK getting assassinated in Dallas, or is this worse for the Dallas population? Like, how many ways can you go? Because Luka Doncic, like in all honesty, was like the heart and soul of Dallas.
Hey, and sorry, just jump in here, Spencer. I mean, this is making actually like Jerry Jones look at pretty good now.
Yeah. Suddenly he's not the worst owner in Dallas. It is now officially Nico Harrison. Congratulations.
Oh my God.
Pass the torch.
I mean, I can't believe it. You look at it so many different ways, and I'm excited for what this week holds in store for what's going to happen with the rest of the trade, because I mean, there were no rumors of this going on. And to me, I wonder if Luka, he had to have known like something, but the way it caught like all of the NBA off guard. I mean, you had KD on the bench last night of the Suns game, like on his phone, like what the hell is going on here? I mean, and all of the NBA tweeters taking on Twitter, like what, this isn't, there's no way this is accurate. But I did see Kendrick Perkins thinks that the Dallas Mavericks got the better end of this trade here. I'm not sure how credible he is or anything, but Kendrick Perkins thinks that it was a great trade.
Yeah, Kendrick Perkins thinks defense wins championships too. Unfortunately, that's not the modern style of NBA. And you got to look like, for me, it was looking back a few years because you had a point in time and, Mark Cuban, a lot of people love him or hate him in Dallas, but and I know he was a part of one of these trades, but the Dallas Mavericks a few years ago in the 2021-2022 season had Luka Doncic, Kristaps Porzingis, and Jalen Brunson on their team at one point. You think about that core, like if you saw them in now the 2024-2025 season, because Kristaps is doing excellent in Boston. They're looking like contenders, of course, as they have the last few seasons even without him, but with him look like an even better version. And then Jalen Brunson, who's absolutely been running the show as his own all-star in New York. Like if you still had those three guys, and I understand they're both guards, Jalen Brunson and Luka Doncic, they were both trying to kind of compete for the point, and that was part of the trade. But I feel like there's a better way to make that work. And you just look at the core they had a few years ago to now the downfall of you have Kyrie, who, is still great, but past his prime. You've just past their prime players, not a lot of superstars anymore. It's just such a sad thing for Dallas fans to see what this team has turned into in just a few years.
Yeah. And you know what, kind of to switch up just a little bit here, but actually been like, as far as fans go, if you're an LA fan, just a general LA sports fan, like you have it made currently because you have the Lakers making this deal, but then you also have the Dodgers who have just won the World Series and then have made the most offseason moves to have like one of the most stacked baseball teams ever.
Yeah.
So like if you're just a general like LA sports fan, I mean, like you literally have it made.
Yeah, I mean, LA has never been, a place where you have to be a hard weather fan because it seems like you always have,
Right.
or a fair weather fan because it seems like you always have one of the top teams. And then, yeah, like you point out, they get Roki Sasaki in the offseason, the biggest signing. They thought he might go to Toronto or something. Of course, he signs with the Dodgers because they just have billions of dollars of money that they're deferring into payments in a decade. So, yeah, sure, in a decade they're going to be paying out the ass. But, they have Shohei on a few $1 million deal because they're deferring all these payments, which is a topic for a whole different day. But, yeah, to your point, an absolutely stacked team in LA now. And now, when it's not baseball season will cross over a little bit, but you go from the Lakers potentially being contenders all of a sudden to then you move right into baseball season. Yeah, it's a good time to live in LA.
Oh, I don't know if I go that far. I mean, they did just get burned down to the fucking ground. I mean, they need
There's
something.
Pros and cons here, Spencer.
They need something to fucking cheer for. I mean, they're living out on the fucking street right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
True.
True. Of course, living in LA, you don't get the president you want, but you get Luka Doncic. So
yeah, so you might have Kamala come smack you on the ass and tell you, well done. But I don't know. There's no water anyone can drink or anything here. But oh my God, I want to switch a little bit. Have you seen, now that Luka has been traded to the Lakers, have you seen who LeBron's played with in his tenure? He's played with prime Dwayne Wade, prime Bosh, prime Kyrie, prime Kevin Love, prime Anthony Davis, mediocrely, Russell Westbrook, and now you get prime Luka at 25 years old. But MJ can't have Pippen.
yeah, that's a good point too, because yes, he did play with all the superstars, but it seems like at one point they weren't as successful when they didn't have him. Because Michael Jordan played with pretty much one team his whole career. He played with the same guys who were great, like one of the best backup, guys that you can have behind Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and the other legends he played with. But he stayed kind of with that same team the whole time, whereas LeBron's done a lot of bouncing in his career, but when he's not on those teams, they hadn't been as successful. Like Miami, I don't think wins those championships without him. Cleveland doesn't win those championships without him. The Lakers probably don't win that championship without him. Like he does make the teams better, but just from a career standpoint, the legends he's gotten to play with is awesome for him.
Well,
and if you're a fan,
fuck yeah, I'd love playing with them. I see you got that MJ behind you. Is MJ the GOAT in your eyes?
oh, I don't think so.
Really?
Really?
I think you look from a career span. Like, listen, Michael Jordan, his accolades speak for themselves, all that kind of stuff. But when it's all said and done, and who knows, LeBron's still playing longevity-wise, and what he's been able to do in his career, and from the standpoint I just said, that's actually one of my main points into the debate. And of course, the Bulls don't win as many championships without Michael Jordan, so that's a point in and of itself. But you look at what LeBron has been able to do when he hops from team to team, just instantly transforming them. It reminds me of Tom Brady going to Tampa, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's not gonna, he's out of the Bill Belichick dynasty with that great defense and all that stuff. Like he's not gonna win another one." And then he wins it the first year he's there. Like the ability to transform a team in that sense is what I believe makes a GOAT. And Michael Jordan did that too, but we didn't see him really hop around. And that's not to take away from him because you can't really knock him for that. But seeing how dominant LeBron James is when he is on a team, even to this point in his career where people are saying Father Time's going to catch up to him, and now he's like almost 40 years old, still doing it, still playing at an elite level with these low 20-year-old players, these young guys coming in, like looking even more dominant than them at this point in his career. I think you kind of have to give it to LeBron. I do.
JD, what do you think?
I'm not sure if it's an age thing because I'm a little bit older than actually y'all, but to me, it's just Michael Jordan, man. It's just always gonna be. I'm not sure if it's because just because that's what I grew up and like watched those games, or actually what, but yeah, Michael Jordan for me is just always gonna be it. As far as what he's done on the court and what they've each done off the court too.
Meaning the drinking problems, or what are we hitting here?
I was about to say we could get into a lot of stuff there, but yeah, for me, it's just he's always going to be in second.
I mean, can you say that MJ would have done 9 if not for gambling addictions or drinking problems, whatever it was? Because I would love one day on his deathbed to be like, yeah, they told me I had to leave for a couple years because of my gambling problems or whatever was going on, that he was going to get suspended. I don't know what the real answer ever was, but does he get 9 if he stays there? And if so, would anyone ever compare LeBron to him if he does not go to the minor leagues in the MLB?
That's a good question. I think we answered by we have to now make LeBron go play in the MLB and see who's better in baseball to settle the debate.
The Dallas Cowboys are now going to trade for LeBron.
Yeah, and LeBron James is trading
Dak will be the next power forward of the Los Angeles Lakers to pair him with Luka Doncic.
Yeah. We have to compare them as 2 sport athletes to really, really debate who's the GOAT. I think that's the answer.
Deion Sanders.
I was just about to say Deion.
8-toed Deion, or however many toes he has, is now up there with the greatest of all time. And Bo knows. You have Bo Jackson up there. But if you're LeBron, I mean, do you think LeBron, because I didn't really see enough. I hadn't looked too deep into going back to some of the trade details, but he had to have known what was going on. You would think, right?
Yeah, I mean, LeBron is basically the GM of the Lakers. So I feel like he made the trade himself. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it was him on the phone doing the trade.
So do you think AD knew then? Or like, how did that conversation go down? I thought they were buddies all along, but then you have ESPN coming out saying that there was a rift in between them, and then LeBron came back and said that was a lie. I wonder how that conversation went down. Like, see ya, dude. Go with one of our other buddies down in Dallas.
With how shocked everybody was, I doubt that AD really knew much.
Yeah. Imagine being Anthony Davis. Like, really? I'm worth this much? You're just going to hand me off to Dallas? And instead of playing in LA, I got to go play in Dallas with Kyrie. And, oh, man, I don't even know what he's going to think of that, because now he has to go play with the guy who thinks the earth is flat instead of LeBron James. Like, that's got to be quite the – I mean, I bet he was – I really do think he was as shocked as everyone else.
Yeah.
Does he have a chip on his shoulder? Like, do you think the Mavs have any chance the rest of the year? Or is it just epitome of a downfall, and they're going to be like the laughing stock of the West right now?
Okay, this is something that I was going to bring up because this is not really an actual betting show. We haven't really talked about this yet, but everybody is used to seeing us and used to seeing us giving out sports picks and all of that. As everybody can tell by this point this is not really what actually this particular show is. But I do have to say, as far as the Mavs games, as far as Lakers games, they're going to be tough to bet for actually like the next bit here. Just see how some of these guys gel, and like some games they're going to look great, and other games they're probably going to look really bad. So as far as with both of these teams, and like I said, like we still have a few days here. So as far as pieces, they like still be. We actually still may see some more moves here.
Well, at least for the time being, Luka Doncic is still injured with the calf injury. Now they do have, you know, I don't think anyone's surprised by this, but right after the news came out, the Lakers received encouraging news about Luka's injury. That he is ramping up his rehab.
Apparently he got shipped to Deshaun Watson's academy and got a nice little blowy on the table.
Oh man! Suddenly he was like holding his calf in the Mavericks locker room. And then all of a sudden he gets traded. Oh wait, it actually, that doesn't feel that bad.
Yeah.
And then then it looks like overnight he actually lost 20 pounds.
The James Harden effect.
Yeah. 270 pounds. Is that true that he weighs 270 pounds right now? No. Is this man fatter than Zion?
Well, actually, he could because he's so damn tall. But he's listed at 230 on ESPN, and I have a hard time believing that he has 40 extra pounds of weight. Like, he doesn't look that fat. Dude, he does not look like James Harden before he got traded. Okay.
Well, was that fake also? Like, there was no way he was that fat. It's like he put on one of those, like, Mahomes, or if you see, I don't know if you guys follow Nebraska football, but Dylan Raiola has, like, that pad on him. But Dylan Raiola without the pad also looks fat. It's like Mahomes Jr. But James Harden in that one picture you're referring to, and I don't know if we can pull it up during the show or something, but the man looks like he's so fat.
Yeah. I mean, he could be. He could have been faking it. He could have just been trying to force his way out. Like, I don't think Luka – it is kind of funny because they just made the finals last year, but that's not what it feels like. Like, sometimes when you see these superstar deals where, the superstar leaves the team or something, and it's kind of like they wanted to force their trade, it's because they've been doing bad or not making the postseason or not doing well in it. They just made the finals last year. Like, it's not like they were in that bad of a position. They were doing all right this year. I mean, I forget their exact record before he got injured, but they were above 500. They were in a decent spot, like at least in a playoff position. So it's not like it might have been a management thing. Maybe Luka just loved Mark Cuban a lot, and now he's sad that his buddy's gone or something. I don't know, but it's just a weird thing to see this kind of deal when the team was in the finals last year.
It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, I still can't grasp my head around it. And if we thought this was news, I would love to hear what's going to happen in Phoenix. Are they just going to blow that shit show up? I mean, how many times are you going to involve KD? Other than the Warriors, but you're going to send them to Brooklyn, try to make a super team there, and shit doesn't work. Send them to Phoenix, shit doesn't work. I mean, they have to blow that organization up because, I don't know what's going to happen anymore. And Devin Booker, who was like the second coming and was going to be the next big thing, kind of nobody's talked about him anymore.
Yeah. I think you're seeing a trend with that. And the trend is that maybe KD's just a horrible teammate.
He might be the outlier in this way.
Yeah, he might be the outlier because, like you said, they've tried to make many super teams now around KD. And on his own, as a player, he always looks great. And that's the thing. But at the end of the day, basketball is a 5-person at a time on the floor, at least 10 playing per game. It's not just one guy. And it can look like one guy, like Luka making the finals run last year, but sometimes it just doesn't work with the guy because he's a horrible teammate. And that's what we might be seeing from this, because they've tried many times with him and it just doesn't work. You move Bradley Beal to the bench, you try, which he's been doing great in that role, but Phoenix just has absolutely no look of a championship caliber team with what looks like it should or could be a championship roster. And I think we're seeing that KD's the outlier.
Do you think, how much do you think JJ Redick was involved in that trade? Do you think that has anything to do with like the trade at all? Or I don't know if he was friends with them, or do you think they fire him after this year? I mean, what do you do? You now have a generational talent that is in your facility at 25. It's basically like having LeBron at 25 years old again, because the numbers they've been putting up, I mean, if you look closely at them, they're pretty damn similar. I mean, Luka Doncic, I'm pretty sure when he was overseas at 18 was MVP of his league and won the Euro League. And now he comes to the NBA and he's 20. He's literally the same age as I am. I'm on here doing a fucking podcast, and he's over here getting would have been paid $345 million. But what do you think JJ Redick's doing now? I mean, this might have saved his coaching career.
I think so too. Well, they are 28-19. They're 5th place in the Western Conference, in a pretty good position to now. I know we're not even before the All-Star break yet, but they look like they're in a pretty good position to make the playoffs. And it's still his first year. And now you have, like, JJ Redick was just handed a ball of clay that he can now mold because he has all the tools. If you can't do it with this kind of a roster, or at least make a run at it, I know there's some good teams out west. You have the Thunder and the Rockets, but you have the weapons now. I think trading Anthony Davis away, sure, you lose a defensive piece, and now the Lakers defense, they're going to have to buckle in and figure something out. Or maybe Luka, because he was like the worst defender on the Mavericks. Maybe he just wanted out so bad. Now all of a sudden he gets traded to the Lakers and he's going to be like the top defender in the NBA. Like, you never know what kind of motivation he'll have with this move. But, I mean, I think it's kind of up to JJ Redick at this point because you've given him all the pieces. Now you just need to see him fall in place. And odds-wise, the Lakers are now plus 1,800 to win the finals right now. That's the 6th lowest odds behind the Celtics, Thunder, Cavaliers, Knicks, and Nuggets. So,
I mean, before I came on the show, I did, in fact, I want to release this information on the show, but it wasn't incorporated when Shams put it out last night. But Dallas actually put a 25% tariff on all of Lakers merchandise moving forward that Luka Doncic sells. So they will be getting everything. Just like Trump put it on Canada and Mexico, they just put a 25% tariff on all of Luka's goods. So that's breaking news from the show.
Maybe that's the key to make money as a franchise. You just get a superstar, make the finals with him, make him absolutely one of the biggest stars in the NBA, and then you sell him to another team for part of their jersey sales. Sounds like a good way to make money.
Little royalty deal or something.
Little royalty deal.
Mark Cuban was on Shark Tank and knows how to make these like royalty offers and everything. They're probably getting like partial sales, or for each win they get, the Mavs will get like half a win or something. I mean, something absurd.
You know, I'm still just looking at this whole thing as far as the Lakers go. Like y'all are saying, like, they are really set up now. So I'm really over these next few like days here, I'm really ready to see what else like they do. Because this like team, this like year could like go ahead and be really, really good. So yeah.
I mean, does LeBron move off the ball solely now? Like, I can't find an update on when Luka will be returning, but as far as like game matchups and game style playing, Luka needs the ball in his hands.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you take away that factor from LeBron as well.
If anything, can you think of how dangerous it is that teams defensively now have to worry about LeBron as an off-the-ball player? Like, from a defensive standpoint for other teams now, because there's other 1-2 or 1-2-3 duos, big three or big twos in the NBA. But this one specifically, Luka literally led the league in points last year. Now he's been injured this year. So it's a little bit of a skewed data point and everything. But just looking at his dominance last few years, and now you're talking about him as the on-the-ball player and LeBron potentially in the GOAT conversation ever in the NBA as an off-the-ball player. Like, this is going to be a tough team to figure out how to slow down and defend. You can't double Luka. LeBron won't be open, but you can't double him. You can't double LeBron. You're going to have one of them, making just moves on the floor. So it really is, if LeBron stays in LA and isn't traded to the Warriors or anything like that, it's going to be a very interesting conundrum for other teams to defend.
100%.
Yeah, man, I don't know, especially the way LeBron gets older. I mean, we talked about father time a little bit and how it can take away maybe his athletic ability. I don't even know if you're taking away his athletic abilities. But although I am a LeBron hater, his IQ of the game is impeccable.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's something that I think you can give that to Luka as well at 25 years old. But even playing him off the ball with the way he passes and the way that his IQ can be ran, you got to have something special in store right there.
And the other thing that kind of opens it up too is you had for a lot of this year, Austin Reeves kind of coming out as this actually pretty good point guard.
It's like a coming out party.
And offensively, all of a sudden now, I mean, you have a few options. You can move him to shooting guard. Connect's been doing pretty good. But you're now talking about Austin Reeves potentially being the backup point guard for the team. He could be – this might be kind of a hot take, but Austin Reeves could be sixth man of the year. Maybe not this year, but if this team stays as this core, you could be looking at Austin Reeves as sixth person of the year, sixth man of the year, because of just his ability to play. He's already made an impact on that team. The way we've seen him facilitate the ball to LeBron and play make, and LeBron loves him. He was always telling the last few years that he should get more playing time, and then he moves into the starting role. Now he's their starting point guard, doing excellent. And now talking about him being potentially the backup for Luka when he's off the floor, or even they run some sets with the two on the court at the same time. I mean, this actually is a very dangerous looking roster now.
Yeah, well, CJ McCollum and his bum ass tweeted last night about something about getting bags ready. Like, bro, you ain't getting traded for nobody. Your weak ass ain't going nowhere, dude. But I wonder who LeBron's on the phone with next. I mean, like JD was saying earlier, you have to go get a big immediately. Like, if you're in win now mode, who are you calling up?
I don't know if they have to call up anyone else.
You don't think they have to get a big?
I mean, they could just play small ball the whole way, play LeBron. They don't have that great of a big. I mean, you could say Dorian Finney-Smith or Jackson Hayes, but there's a world where, it'll be interesting to see what they do with Austin Reeves, because you move him to shooting guard, you have Rui, you have Jared Vanderbilt, you have Gabe Vincent, you have a few bench guys that you could move into a starting role and move LeBron to the 5, kind of go small ball with. I know he's not a true center or anything, but at least gives – that would mess with teams even more if you had him playing that and you did small ball. Because it's like now what do you do defensively? Because a lot of teams have that true center in it. And there were times where AD could be an offensive liability. We've seen it a lot where, yes, his defense is awesome, but it's like kind of looked like he was throwing a wrench in a lot of their sets offensively. All of a sudden you go a little small ball with it, get LeBron at the 5, and you have a team that you can do a lot of things with. There's a lot of things the Lakers could do right now. The ball is in their court, literally.
Do you think there's any chance they go back and get like a Brandon Ingram or trade to get someone like that off the Pelicans that you might be able to get another steal for? They just rinsed the Mavericks in that trade. Why not rinse someone again?
Yeah, can you imagine CJ McCollum? He said, get the bags ready, and it wasn't for him. It was for your teammate, Brandon Ingram. Right? Now you got to deal with Zion's fat ass. And that would be interesting.
It's just unreal to see. I'm excited for what the rest of this week has in store, but I just can't get over the fact that they did this deal, and you're happy in the Dallas Mavericks organization. How happy can you be? I can't see it working out, especially after you went to a finals. It really does not make sense to me in any shape or form.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually sitting here going through like who they could get, because I am really on the bus where like just as far as another big guy, like I really do think that they're going to get somebody. So I'm just sitting here trying to figure out and I'm trying to look and see like who like they could possibly, or like who would make sense here.
And if they do, how much do they sell out? Like they can trade a lot of their bench players, or they could just sell a shit ton of future picks and really sell out for this next year or two. Because the Lakers are always going to be the Lakers. Like, even if they sell out, they're going to be one of the top franchises that will always be able to pull off trades like this because they're the Lakers. But, they have a few ways to attack if they want to trade for a big man, whether they just trade away their future essentially, or just send off basically all their bench to a team that is rebuilding. You send a bunch of them off to the Wizards or something, but it's like at that point, what do you get back? It's interesting to see what's going to happen before the trade deadline, because we got a few more days left, and unfortunately, you won't see Luka with LeBron at all before the trade deadline. But it's gonna be weird to see what happens with LeBron at this point.
Because literally, like from how this trade worked out, we now know that like we could literally see anything. I'm thinking like they could go after actually probably actually Ayton.
Yeah, you could. I kind of forgot
for,
about him too.
Yeah, you could go for somebody like actually that. I like really do think that they're gonna go in that type of way somehow.
Yeah. And now the Lakers, I believe you have to view as a true contender in a year that seems pretty up in the air in the NBA.
Seems like wide
the past,
open.
the past decade has felt like we've had one or two clear front runners between the Celtics and Warriors, and even the Heat from back in the mid 2010s. But it seems like there's always that true front runner every year. But this year, it's like, I don't know. Like, yes, you do have a dominant Thunder team in the West. You have a dominant Cavs team in the East. And then right behind him in the East, you have the Celtics and the Knicks. And it seems like they could just as easily take the conference. And then in the West is even crazier because you have the Rockets and Grizzlies who haven't come out of nowhere, but they're healthy this year. And we're seeing what those two rosters specifically can do when they're fully healthy. And then you have all of a sudden the Nuggets who just won a few years ago behind them. And then now the Lakers after this move, like the West is completely wide open and the East feels like it too. Like this is truly a year where you have 6 to 8 teams that could all easily win the championship when you view it from like a roster standpoint and how they're performing.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. And we're speaking about this as the NBA is kind of almost going through their next generation of talent coming forward. And I think that's personally probably why some of the ratings are so low, is it's everyone that grew up having like Kevin Durant, LeBron, CP3, Russell Westbrook, Curry, Clay, and all these people. You're kind of getting away from them, and you have like the up and comers of Ant and some of the others. But it's just like it's almost you haven't grown up with them in a way, and so maybe that from a rating standpoint, do you think that's why ratings are down? Is people didn't like grow up with those players, or I mean, I don't understand why the ratings would also be so low. Maybe the brand of basketball is just not soothing to many people's eye. I mean, I would rather watch college any day of the week.